number 4 at the Snetterton Racing Circuit in Snetterton in the UK, of course. The 300 layout we are using for this one, the full layout. We all love the back section of the circuit. Drivers are very, very fond of it. So we're glad to be running the full layout. We ran the 200 layout last season in TCR, but we're here with the full layout for today. Oscar Mangan leading the championship by a margin of 80 points, coming in here, could clinch it today, but we'll wait and see. There's drop scores to take into account as well, but Mangan is looking really, really secure. A couple of new winners, of course, coming from the previous round. Marchenkovic winning out in Brands Hatch in the round before Donington, and then we had Andrew Watson winning last week as well on his debut in the series. But we're here now to see if we can maybe have another one. We look at Oscar Mangan now in the number 99 car, the championship leader by a huge margin. So my name is Jack Canan. As always, joining me is Sam Fitzpatrick in the box. So Sam, the full 300 layout today, drivers are always a fond favourite of it, but I think Mangan coming down to a problem corner that I think is going to be, pose an issue today as it did in TCRs.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jack, and welcome to all the viewers. Hopefully you're having a good day. Going to be a big trouble this corner. Undoubtedly, you go left and then into the very tight right. You can try to hang it around the outside, perhaps to get the inside for the next part of the corner. It's possibly the best overtaking opportunity as well. We saw overtaking quite tricky last season. However, it's probably easier than Brands Hatch that we visited last week, so should be some really good action. Of course, the Jewel of Norfolk. As a Norfolker, I am terribly proud of this place. I believe we had a stat there, 49 meters of elevation. So if you're on one of the banks here, you can see the entire county. It's absolutely superb, and this place is fantastic as well. As we see Mangan still weaving about. Interestingly, he's just done his outlap. They've got 3 laps to have the drivers, and he's still warming up his tyres. He's trying to warm up his tyres on the second lap, perhaps just exhibiting how important tyre temperature is.
Yeah, you can see that. So they have 3 laps. So they essentially, what Mangan's doing is he's thinking, all right, I have 2 laps to get this done, trying to get the tyres up to temperature, which is so important in these cars. Oscar, of course, competing in various other series involving the Porsche, in the, of course, the Porsche Super Cup Support Series, GT4, he's been running there. There is Andrew Watson. So he's done his outlap at the moment. He was a brand new winner. It was his debut in the series last week in Brands Hatch, and he took a win in the feature race, holding off the charges of the other cars behind by just a small margin. Watson did incredibly well, and he was incredibly surprised, I think, to be holding on to that race win. But I think he's carrying good form coming into this one. So Watson now lies second behind Arias Diamantis, who we spoke to as well. So it was actually a week of firsts as well. Diamantis grabbing his first podium in almost a year of racing. So it's always, I think, special. We always talk about it, Sam, when somebody gets their first. And I think even if it's a debut win, I think it's even sweeter when you've been waiting for almost a year, even just to grab a podium.
Yeah, and it was such a responsible drive, wasn't it, for Diamantis? You can tell how he's been in the league for a while, being on iRacing for a while, because as the faster drivers came up to him, he just let them go. He didn't fight them too hard, and, you know, us as commentators, we like to say a bit of controversy, we like to see some fights. However, when you're in the cockpit, you want to have the most sensible choice, and that's what Diamantis did. He managed to get a 3rd place behind, I believe it was Mangan and Watson ahead of him, who are 2 extremely competitive drivers, who he didn't have much of a chance against, no disrespect to Arias, but to get a podium out of that was very impressive. Of course, Watson started right from the back last time in race 1, so this is going to be his first proper clear run at a race meeting, and I think he might be one of the highest point scorers today.
Yeah, and the man at the top at the moment is the one who chased Andrew Watson all the way around in the dying laps. Adrian Campfield, great run of results for him last week. Came very, very close to that win. I think it was 0.3 of a second he missed out across the line. But Campfield's been showing really, really good pace. He was the only man to have kept the pace with Oscar Mangan in the heat race when he was right with him the whole way around. And it was really impressive showing from Campfield as he goes around the back of the circuit now. But it's currently Campfield from Watson from McManus, so we're still waiting for Mangan to finish his laps. McManus now still second in the championship, but he's 80 points off the back of Oscar Mangan. It just shows you how consistent Mangan has been. And McManus has not had a good run of finishes, and Campfield is closing up to him. We now look at McManus, and I think, Sam, he's just going to be wanting one where he just gets a clean race and hopefully can get a result out of it.
Absolutely, I think that's at the top of every driver's list. They just want to get a clean race in. However, now that the championship is almost done with Oscar Mangan absolutely dominating this season, maybe these top guys will be free to take a few more risks. You know, you'd love a race win in this race, especially with how Mangan's been dominating the race once. A race win in this race is very much an exclusive, so got to drive a perfect event. I'm sure a few of these drivers would like to take that off, but at the same time, you want to finish in the top 3 in the championship, and Mangan is pretty much a pro driver. I mean, he is he's probably in the top 200 best iRacers, probably. I'm not quite sure. It's always difficult to measure stuff like that. But he's an extremely competitive driver. We've seen that in the World GT Championship, for example. So to finish kind of best of the rest of him, that would be a very good result. But here comes Mangan then. This is his first proper lap. He's going to have one more lap to go after this one because the guys are limited to 3 flying laps. And Mangan goes to the
Wow.
top, and it's by a huge margin, 6/10 of a second. And if we learn anything from Brands Hatch, he got faster and faster on each lap. So this final lap, I think, will probably be a couple of tenths better again.
I think so, because his best time in practice was a 1:55.1, so he may even extend that gap to a second. And I wouldn't put that past Osman. And Brian McManus popping into second place there. It's a good lap from Brian, and I think he's possibly got one more lap to go, unless he's backing. I think he might be backing off there on his in lap now, but it's Mangan with another lap to go. McManus now second, Watson in third, Camfield fourth, Lewis Ward, who we saw had a bit of he had ended up in an incident in Druids, unfortunately battling for the lead. So Lewis Ward has got something to prove there. Arturas Candelas in sixth, fastest of the Pro-Am. If you are wondering what the colours are, the red indicates the Pro class. Of course, the classes are split in this championship. There it is, the top of your screen. Pro is red and Pro-Am are marked in blue, and the ones that are marked kind of dark navy are kind of amateur or are not part of any class. So they're part of their own one. Now, the championship points are not split by class. It is just to have the honour of being the fastest Pro-Am or Pro driver. Right now, Arturas Candelas is the fastest of the Pro-Am. Sergey Grabin, who Sam gained a bit of a name for himself last week after driving pretty much the whole race with his bonnet up.
Yeah, it was quite remarkable. It's difficult to tell whether it's up on his screen because it was actually down on our screens, me and Jack's screens. However, our broadcaster is doing a fantastic job. State Sam Kume in the background. He had the bonnet up, so it's a bit difficult to tell whether or not Graben could see where he was going. But it looked like he could see where he was going because he drove pretty well after that and was undoubtedly our driver of the season, arguably. Adrian Campfield then puts himself back up into second place, and that will be it for him. Lewis Ward is the highest up driver yet to complete his third lap. Also, Kundalis is yet to complete his lap. Here comes Ward across the line, and he will set a 56.47. And oh, sorry, no, he does a 55.95. There you go. Does go faster. The timeline's very late on down straight, and he moves up to the second row of the grid. Good job from Lewis Ward there.
Yeah, really nice job. Mangan did go faster, but also Campfield also went faster. So it's a 1:55.37 and a 55.8 for Campfield, which is still, it's a gap of half a second that Mangan has got in hand. And it's another pole position to add to his tally. And that must be, I think, his fourth in a row between each of the races that we've had, Heat 1 races. But we have had 4 different winners in each of the feature races, which has been something that I think the guys are proud of. But as we would just wait for Niall Murray to finish, he's quite a long qualifying session that we have here, 12 minutes. But the drivers have really used that since they have the 3 laps available to them. As coming down and just going through turn 1 now is Niall Murray, and he's on his way. He's currently sitting 22nd, so there's still a bit of work to do for him. But Watson, I think, has been the most impressive debutant, because even though it's only his second race, he has a race win under his belt, and he's also qualified in the top 5.
Yeah, I mean, he's jumped into this season ever so well. There's no actual pro or pro-am rating for Watson, but I don't think there's much question of where he belongs. A couple of podiums are possible for him. By the way, a reminder that we have 2 races tonight. So in race 2, the finishing order from race 1 will be reversed. The top 20 places will be reversed, and then that'll be the grid for race 2. So I think you do finish a little bit lower down, but I think with this pace that Watson's got, and also the overtaking capabilities, we saw him gain some 30 places, which might well be a season best for anyone so far this season. So he can overtake people really impressively as Marcinkovic actually just crossed the line. I believe he stayed in 7th place, but he did improve to a 56.44. So a good effort from Marcinkovic there. But yeah, Watson's certainly going to be a danger. Perhaps a few of these drivers haven't quite got used to driving against him either, so may not be quite sure how to deal with him through this first half a lap or so.
Marchenkovic getting on the grass there as he goes around on his lap. Marchenkovic is, of course, a winner this season in Donington. Took his first win there. And good to see him out once again in this Porsche Cayman Cup. And we'll see what he can do. He's still just top 10 at the moment. It's coming through. Number 31 car down the bottom of the circuit now, heading towards Williams and down the Brundle Straight. As we head down through this right-hander, this is where the 200 layout would normally comes from last season. Just cut across. Riding on board with Marchenkovic now, heading down towards the bridge. And you'll see how tricky this corner is, because it's totally blind until you're on top of it. So trying to spot braking here is really tricky. Late on the brakes, getting it turned in, and then into this little kink right-hander. Very slow. That's a touch wide for Marchenkovic there. A little understeer catching him out there into the bomb hole here. And a little camber on the inside, little twitchy on the way out there into Coram along the right-hander. Trying to nip the inside wheel onto the curb as little as possible. He's going to run out of time. And Oscar Mangan, once again, I think for his 4th one in a row, he's going to get pole position for Heat Race 1 with Campfield alongside him. We saw from last week that Campfield was able to keep the pace, but I don't know if that's going to be the case today. So let's have a confirmation. Oscar Mangan, by nearly half a second, takes pole from Adrian Campfield. Lewis Ward is 3rd, Brian McManus 4th, Watson 5th, Condella 6th, Marchenkovic in 7th place. Adam Dowling, Kyle Stevens, and Wayne Douglas are your top 10. Outside there is Rob Moore, and then Sergey Graben in 12th. And then Andrew Hopley, Jack Byrne, Tom Ingram, watch out for him. We know how he likes to climb through the field. Ian Malone, Diarmuid Toomey, Pat Masterson, Harry McGovern, Mark Birney, Peter McCann, Willie Pigeon. Then Niall Murray, Ronan Hederman in 24th place. Then further down, Arias Mantis, James Wingfield, Dave McGuire, Rob O'Neill, Johnny McMullen, Jean Montero, Paolo Breme, Michael McCarthy, and then Dave Collier, Aaron Kerry, Owen Murray, Tony Stack in 36th. And rounding out the couple of final positions here as we just wait for the graphic to take over and the lights to go out very shortly. As we just wait, I think, for Mangan. Mangan seems to like to be the very last one to grid up, Sam. I wonder if that little psychological thing.
I've chatted to a few drivers over time, particularly in the UV8 series. And it infuriates the other drivers, and they really do take the mick whenever they get the opportunity to maybe dish it out themselves when they get a chance. So will perhaps be annoying the other drivers, and also something that's just reminded us maybe will help with the tyre temperatures. We know how Mangan loves them, as he has finally gridded up now.
Here we go. Lights are about to come on for heat race number 1 here at Snetterton. Lights ticking on in front of the drivers. That's 5 red lights. And away we go. There's a good start from Mangan, good one from Campfield all around. Looks like a poor one from Watson from 5th place to head up towards turn 1. It's a poor one from McManus, actually. He's going to lose out to Watson. He's heading towards turn 1. Campfield under pressure from Lewis Ward, now heading towards turn 1. Campfield goes to 2nd. McManus now looking up the inside of Lewis Ward, heading towards the hairpin. Not going to be able to do it, but Campfield starting to challenge into the Wilson hairpin here. Moves to the outside. Mangan just hugs the karting line. Nothing he can do about that one. Heading further down. Looking all good for these guys. Lewis Ward hanging in there. And a couple of drivers. Oh, big smash there.
Ooh.
That's Andrew Hopley. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars nearly involved. That's Andrew Hopley. There's a couple of other cars as cars rejoin in front of other ones. And I think just trying to go 3 abreast towards that hairpin is never going to work. And that, I think, is absolute proof of that. Max
Birney was out in Suffolk there, the poor man. And he's fortunately got back onto the circuit. But there's pretty much no track limits around here at Snetterton. No barriers, just farms. And he was well within one there, but yeah, like I said, hopefully not too much damage on that car. You always see incidents down at that turn 2, but plenty of places gained by some drivers. So Breme up 13, Maguire up 10, Collier up 13, Stack up 11, Wayne Douglas though down 22, stay up in the top 10, down into 32nd place as we might see a change here. Here comes Ward on Campfield. Campfield leaves the line open, might feel like the outside is best here to get the inside for the next corner. However, that is simple for Lewis Ward. There he goes up into second place, and Oscar Mangan is laughing his head off here because he's just escaping away out to the lead.
Yeah, and Oscar Mangan builds the gap already to a second. Lewis Ward second, Campfield third, McManus hanging on there in fourth. Arturas Candelas is up to fifth, so Watson has lost out and dropped to sixth place now. Then it's Marchenkovic, Adam Dowling, Rob Moore, Tom Ingram up 5 places from where he started. But don't think this battle between Ward and Campfield is going to be over just yet, because Campfield still latched onto the back of him, and Campfield already had a go at Mangan earlier on to try and get past. But it's not going to quite work, so we go on board with Adrian Campfield heading towards turn number 1, chasing after Lewis Ward up ahead. You can see Mangan just opening the gap to 1.5 seconds now. So I think Mangan is just going to check out now at this stage, unless the guys have something to answer for heading through the hairpin. No problems for these guys getting very, very close now. Watson back up to 5th now, makes the move on Candelas. He's looking up, needs to get squeezed off on the exit there as he heads towards here. And Watson back up to 5th now. Candelas, Marchenkovic is now latched onto this one. Adam Dowling is getting involved now. Rob Moore is also right there. Tom Ingram's also latched onto that back. So there's then a big gap down further. Oh, with another one. Andrew Hopley again in the grass at the hairpin, that looks like. And this has not been a good day for Andrew Hopley. He's been involved in this 2 incidents in 2 laps, and that's about as bad as it can get.
Going out to see the scary tree out there, Hopley, and he's lost his rear wing as well. So whilst it's going very well for his teammate Ward up in second place, it's not going well for him at the moment. As we just see Collier gaining up into 20th place. Also, you could see how much he was skidding off the circuit. That's just the new tyre model with how slippery the grass and the gravel is now. And if you're going at speed and you look the tyres on the grass, you're just going flying. And he went an absolute mile out there, did that drive. So yeah, it took him a while to get back out on circuit. So best to stay on the circuit here, because yeah, the grass will really cost you a lot. Here comes Graben then on Collier, trying to come back at him, I believe. And the bullet is down for Graben, and he is up into the top 20.
Yep, Sergey, no such problems. He's got a brand new bonnet latch on, so there's no problems with the bonnet coming up again. As now we move upwards, hopefully, for Sergey. And we see that it's Andrew Hopley's now, unfortunately, out of this race, back in the pit lanes. That's not been a good day for him, unfortunately. Mangan sets another fastest lap, half a second quicker than Lewis Ward. We look back at Dave McGuire now with Diarmuid Toomey fighting for 15th place on the outside line, heading towards turn 1, the number 15 versus the number 13. Very not easy to go around the outside here. See if McGuire can try and pull it off. I think Toomey just backs out of that one, lets him straight through. And he goes up to 14th place, that'll be now. And just to see, Tom Ingram has made 2 spots now, up to 8th place. So again, a good heat 1 for Tom. There he is. He's made 2 spots on Adam Dowling and on Rob Moore. Now trying to chase after Marchenkovic and Candelas. And he started 15th on the grid, and he's doing a nice job, up to 8th place at the moment. So this is a 12-lap heat race, or 40 minutes. We should get to the 12 laps before then. And then we'll have, of course, the reverse grid for the top 20 for the feature race. But kind of a long race in store for both, as Ingram tries to close down. Tom's had a good week in sim racing. He, of course, took a win in the British F3 Championship, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's able to carry the momentum forward again. And I think he's really enjoying his time out in sim racing now.
Absolutely. I don't want to burst his or your bubble, but he did get DQ'd after the race, unfortunately, due to exceeding the instant limits.
The instant limits.
Honestly, could write a book about that. Honestly, a soap opera waiting to be made. But no, he still drove extremely well, and as a guest driver as well. So that was his first round of the championship, and to go out and win race 2 like he did right there was still very impressive from Ingram. So no, he certainly gets in the hang of it. And I mean, we talk to him so often, and he's so down to earth. He's like any sim racer, isn't he? Where he's just like, I don't know where the half a second is coming from, and you expect these pros to be mega confident and just to jump in straight away. It does take a little bit of time, and I think Ingram's just finding that maybe a tenth of a second every week, especially in this GT4 car. I have seen him slowly progress up the order, and also his race car as well, very good, up into 8th place now.
Mangan setting another fastest lap, 1:55.8, another half a second quicker than Lewis Ward, who's behind him there. And this is what Adrian Campfield was on about last week when we spoke to him. Mangan is extremely good in the opening phase of the race. He's able to just open out the gap and then back off. So when the guys get up to pace eventually, he has enough of a gap to just back off and relax a little bit and go out there. So that's kind of what Campfield's been trying. That's why Campfield was attacking so early on into turn 1 to try and get past him. So then Mangan is forced to battle. But when you're dealing with a driver of a caliber of Mangan, it's not going to be easy at all to make a move past him, and he's just doing another demonstration drive. He's nearly opened the gap out to nearly 3 seconds in 4 laps. Lewis Ward opening the gap out to Campfield. McManus is holding on there in 4th place. This has been a good race for McManus right at the moment. He's qualified very well today, so he's holding on to that place. Andrew Watson still holding on to that 5th place very nicely. Arturas Kondelis kind of under pressure a little bit from Valentinas Marchenkovas in 7th place. And then Tom Ingram just a little bit further behind, just breaking away from Adam Dowling. He's under pressure from Rob Moore at the same time. Ian Malone just outside there as they head down into the bottom hole once again. And it looks like Mangan is going to try and hold on to this one. He's going to open out that gap and see if it's going to be another fastest lap for him this time. But Ward is controlling his pace as well. Ward doing a lot better this week. Got caught up in incidents again, and I think the guys are just kind of settling down now into this phase of the race. Doing a nice job. Oh, that's a spin. Yeah, that's a big twitch from Rob Moore on the exit, and that's an unusual one to come out of there. It looks like he just got a kick of oversteer, and of course the traction control kicking in a little bit there and sending him off, spearing off the opposite direction. Let's have a look at that one again. Just turns in, clouts the curb, and it just gets unsettled, and straight off he went. And that is the fine line. He managed to just about get it going again, but that's the fine margins you're talking about. The car has got traction control, and that actually would not have helped him in that case, but it just speared him off to the right-hand side.
It's a really tricky corner. Oh, as we've now got Toomey off the circuit, and that's going to rule Toomey out of the reverse grid, I think, because there he goes down into 21st place, top 20 get reversed, so that's a big spin there for the 13 car. But yeah, the spin we saw for Moore, that front corner, really tricky. You've got to absolutely maximise the exit. There's a lot of kind of, I don't quite know what the material is called. It's almost like a mesh curb on the outside. You want to use absolutely all of it, but if you tip a wheel onto the grass, it can be very costly. And that time he just took too much curb, didn't he? And yes, veered off the circuit, as you say. And yeah, we'll demote him a few places. Here comes Bernie up into 23rd. Was squeezed a bit there by Collier. He was running it in the top 20 earlier on. We saw him being passed by Graben a few laps ago, and seemingly still struggling is Collier, still at 9 places from his start after being one of the few drivers who didn't get involved in an incident in the second half of the field on the opening lap of the race. So currently holding race 2 pole is Jack Bear, who is down 6 places from his start, but Tony stack up 15. Only 1 place out of that, and is 3.3 seconds behind. Did lap on that last lap, though. 1.7 seconds faster.
Yeah, good one there. And Tony Stack just hanging in there with Jack Byrne, just to try and see if he can maybe nab that reverse grid pole. See Tony up there, and yet again, how about that? Oscar Mangan, a second faster than Lewis Ward behind him. He's just continuing to open the gap, and it doesn't look like he's even breaking a sweat out there. 155.1 to a 156.0 that time for Lewis Ward. Campfield kind of keep pace, but again still 0.6 of a second behind. And now we look and see, this is Sergey Graben and Ronan Hederman and Niall Murray heading towards someone. Niall Murray's trying to find space, but there isn't any. And Graben up to 17th now. He makes a place on Ronan Hederman. He's trying to come back at him up the inside again. Niall Murray looking for space there as well. Hederman's going to have the inside line. 2 very experienced racers here up the inside. Murray's going to try and follow him through. He should have a nose there, and he does. Trying to get the traction on the way out. Side by side with Graben. So Hederman's made the place. Can Sergey hold on? Versus Niall Murray. He's going to hang it around the outside, have a go on the outside. Nicely done from Niall Murray. Sergey gives him the space, and he'll give him the outside line again for this next corner. Still side by side. They have been for the past while. See if Murray can finally make the stick. I don't think he's going to be quite able to. Sergey's still in there, still side by side, heading to this next part of the circuit into Hamilton. Murray's on the outside. He's trying to shut the door on Sergey. Now the 3 abreast as James Wingfield gets in, and Niall Murray, thanks to the lapped car a little bit there, gets through with a nice win. And that was some fantastic racing between Sergey and Niall Murray.
Was a little bit aggressive for Murray when he had to get past the back marker, just tried to move alongside, but yeah, 3 wide around a very narrow part of the circuit. and smart driving there from Grabban just to back out of it. That's such a flowing, narrow corner there. The outside line is by far the advantage. And look at Murray straight away onto the back of Hederman now. Murray did start in 23rd place, so he is 5 places up, but this is a remarkable pace from a driver who we do know is very quick. And I think down into turn 2 on the next lap is going to be a very good opportunity for him.
Let's see what Niall can do. We're just stuck behind Ronan Hederman here. Now João Monteiro in 16, just a little bit further up the road. There he is, just have a nice gap there over Hederman. But the gap is kind of coming down. João is just kind of falling into the trap here as Niall Murray just trying to find his way through past Hederman. But he's not quite close enough to do it just yet. There is Niall Murray, number 30 car heading towards turn number 1. Following Ronan Hederman, Sergio Grabban dropping back a little. I wonder if Sergio has damage, because he doesn't seem to be quite on the pace here. It just seems to be struggling for that pace. But either way, I think Sergio, if he wants, I think he could just hold on here. In fact, what he could do is maybe just try and fall in behind Jack Byrne and hang behind Jack Byrne, because that would give him the reverse grid pole.
I certainly don't think it's worth fighting with Byrne. Probably, I think we let Byrne catch up to him. But then once Byrne does catch up, just don't fight him. Just try to stay in 19th or 20th place. Front row start is going to be absolutely fantastic for race 2. And I'm sure as the season goes on, of course, these rules are quite well established in this championship as well. I certainly do know they used them for last season. Not sure if they used them for previous seasons. But these guys will know how to maximise their meetings. They want to get the most amount of points possible, and so Grabban will be quite happy with this position, I imagine, as he has been able to pick up the pace. So that last lap he was 2 seconds slower, but on this lap was actually 4 tenths faster than Murray through the first sector, so certainly much stronger for him now. Near up to the front, Mangan, it's not a massive gap, 4.3 seconds, but it's comfortable. It's very comfortable at the moment. Lewis Ward, 6 tenths of a second ahead of Adrian Campfield, but I mean, I've done quite a few races around this circuit, and it's tricky to overtake. You have got that turn 2, but unless you're close enough for 2, there's nowhere obvious to overtake. Really, it's just about just keeping this part on the circuit. It's so easy to dip a wheel onto the grass and make a mistake. It's just keeping it within the confines and just making laps, I think, for the majority of these drivers.
Yeah, and there is Tom Ingram up the inside of Valentinas Marchenko, squeezes him on the exit. Nice move from Tom there, up to 7th place now, just behind Arturas Candelas. So slowly making progress, and the number 80 car doing well. And we see now that Ward was just ever so slightly quicker than Oscar Mangan that time. 600th he was quicker, but this is the stage now. Mangan's opened the gap enough that he can kind of just back off, lose a couple of tenths a lap, and he'll be fine and hold on to that race win, because he's had pretty much a string of Heat 1 wins so far this season. Of course, it will mean that he'll start 20th on the grid, and every time the feature race has not gone his way, he's ended up involved in incidents further down, which has cost him the race wins overall, but he's always been able to drive through. It makes for some entertaining watching to see Mangan making his way through. Tom Ingram now just under a little bit of pressure from Marchenko, who's starting to come back, and we'll see if Ingram can maybe close up to Candelas to get 6th place here. And there'll be a good result for Tom as well, but it would mean he'd start further down the grid. But it'd pretty much end up where he started this race anyway. He started this race in 15th place, up to 7th, fringing on 6th. Marchenko was kind of sticking in with him here, just trying to use him maybe to get some pace here. On to lap number 9 very shortly. We'll see the lap times from Oscar Mangan. He's just starting to ease off right now as we head to the 15, just past the 15-minute mark, with just under 4 laps left to run here. And here we go, across the line, 155.3 for Oscar Mangan. What is it for Lewis Ward? 55.6. So identical lap times for him and for Campfield. But Mangan is completely comfortable. I think he's on a bit of a Sunday drive, honestly.
Well, his lap times don't... Well, I mean, his consistency certainly suggests that. But remember, that's a fast lap time that he didn't qualify. So he is really driving very fast at the moment, is Mangan. I believe the drivers use the same setup for the races they do in qualifying. Of course, this is a fixed setup series. And so I think they use the same. You can set different qualifying and different race ones. I think he's running about the same amount of fuel, but even on this lap 9 or lap 8 on that last lap, the tyres not wearing off whatsoever. If anything, the car might be getting faster because the tyres take a while to wear off. That they might actually be in their peak at the moment. And of course, the fuel is being gradually drained from these machines, but he's still got to be pushing hard. And that is what Mang is doing, just really comfortable out there. Ward now only 5/10 of a second. He actually lost 2/100ths of a second on that last lap. Interestingly, Watson is actually lapping faster than these couple of drivers, but he's some 4 seconds behind back in 5th place, so I doubt he'll be able to feature.
Yeah, Watson is actually just slightly catching up to McManus now. It's not enough. Oh, no! Campfield into the side of Ward in the bottom hairpin. That's a massive one for the 2 leaders right there. Ward coming to blows with Campfield. That's going to promote McManus and Watson to 3rd. What on earth happened there? That's going to Condellis. Ingram goes through. Let's have a quick look at this again. Now, does Campfield try it? That's... wow. I'm not quite sure what to make of that one, Sam.
Seemed like it was a mile back, and I'm not sure why he went for that one on Ward. It was a completely legitimate attempt at an overtake. I mean, he has no grievances with Ward. He will be absolutely fuming with that one. Ward at least is still in the top 20. He's in 9th place at the moment. Where is Campfield now?
He's in 7th, so he's
7th.
ahead of him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
I think it'd probably be best for Adrian to probably slow down. Let his rival pass that. I think that might well be a post-race penalty as well. But very strange incident there. You can go for a surprise move through there because you really open up the entry a lot. But I don't really know why he was so desperate to get that, considering he was already running in that 3rd place.
I would have to probably imagine that it was just a mistiming of braking or something. Well, it's a very unusual. I don't think he was close enough to make the move. But that, anyway, promotes Brian McManus up to 2nd place now. Andrew Watson to 3rd. Arturas Condellis, Tom Ingram in this one as well. Marchenkovic. Then it's Campfield, Dowling, Ward and Malone. And just to keep you updated on the reverse grid poll, it's currently Harry McGovern now promoted to 20th. Jack Byrne, then Sergio Grabman in the front row. There is Harry McGovern, still under pressure from Tony Stack. These guys are battling for the reverse grid pole, and of course, this is a big battle because if you start in 20th, if you finish 20th, you'll start 1st. If you finish 21st, you're starting 21st. So there's almost as much on the line here as there is as battling for the win.
Yeah, I mean, that could be a massive change for your points in the championship if you could start further up. Campfield is dropping down.
Letting Ward past.
Well, I suggested it, and I doubt he's listening to the commentary. I'm sure that was completely himself there, and that was absolutely the right thing to do from Campfield, and maybe his penalty will be a little bit weakened because of that. Hopefully, we'll see these guys go up back to the game because we know that they are very evenly matched.
Yeah, and I just saw on the exit, I think that the Ward just kind of weaving just as a thank you. So obviously I don't think there's any bad blood there between the 2 of them. But they carry on. They haven't lost that much in this race. They're down to 8th and 9th as a result. But good to see the sportsmanship still reigns. And again, just Oscar Mangan, 1.2 seconds quicker than Brian McManus that lap. That's incredible. 155.0 that time around. And that's quite incredible pace considering you're coming into the end. You were talking about the car getting faster. It certainly looks that way. As we now continue to look at Lewis Ward, and they're looking to get away with that one out with no damage. It's Adam Dowling up ahead of them, then it's Marchenkovic, Ingram and Condellis. That battle that continues to rage on. And it's Watson and McManus. McManus, of course, Mangan's rival in the title, so he'll take any points that he can get, but at this rate, still going to be Mangan. Tom Ingram with a little dive up the inside. Cheeky one from Tom Ingram. See if he can get it stopped. I think he has, and he's caught him by surprise. Lovely move from Tom Ingram. Let's see if Condellis can come back at him on the exit of the next corner. And I think Tom should have that covered. Yeah, nice little move from Tom Ingram there. Kind of caught Condellis napping a little bit there.
Yeah, I think so. There's nothing that the outside driver can do around 160-degree corner like that. When you've got the inside line, you very much got control of the overtake. Condellis, to be fair, staying close at the moment, quarter of a second behind, but the slipstream advantage only be kicked in about halfway down this straight, and I doubt he'll be close enough for an overtake back under the bridge. But yeah, Ingram's been absolutely lightning so far in this race. Just wondering, has Ingram got a podium so far this season, or is this even his best result so far?
I believe 4th is his best result, so he's going to equal that heat race 1, but he has not yet got a podium as far as I'm aware. So he'll be wanting to try and get that one, but Watson is unfortunately about 5 seconds up the road from him. There he is, just kind of going out of shot right there. We're on the final lap of this first heat race, by the way. It is Oscar Mangan by a country mile leading this one. And Brian McManus in second, who's 10 seconds behind him. And that is incredible stuff. It's another second gained by Mangan, that time McManus. Then it's Watson, then Ingram, and then Candelas, Marchenkovas, Ward, Dowling, Campfield, and Malone. We now look at McManus, the man second in the championship. Second is, of course, I think is the best he's going to do out of this heat race one. He's going to be starting next to Oscar Mangan, ahead of him on the track, of course, for this feature race. And the feature races have not really got to plan for Brian either. They certainly went the way of Andrew Watson last time. Watson on a more consistent run, of course, this week. He gained 30 plus spots in the heat race one last week, but has qualified well and is finishing well, 2 places from where he started. A couple of position swaps going down near the 20th place. Currently, you can just see now Tom Ingram breaking away slightly from Candelas, so it should be 4th place for Ingram if he can hold on. And that reverse grid pole looks like it's going to be Harry McGovern for now, but we'll wait because Tony Stack is right with him. So we now come to the end of this heat race one. Very, very shortly. And down the back straight will be Mangan. And we continue to watch this little battle between Candelas and Marchenkovas. Candelas, of course, leading the Pro-Am class, followed by Malone and Pat Masterson, who's now 3rd in that one. Good run from Pat Masterson, actually, just outside the top 10. And heading down towards this one now, we look at, this is Willie Pigeon and Paolo Breme. This is Rob Moore. Rob Moore moves into 13th behind, in front of Willie Pigeon and behind Dave Maguire. And then it's Niall Murray a little ways further down in 16th, then Hederman. But back to the front, it's been a perfect drive in Heat Race 1. Oscar Mangan, by nearly 12 seconds, comes across the line and wins Heat Race 1 by a margin of nearly 12 seconds and a 1:55.9 for good measure. Didn't break out of the 55s at all. Across the line, Brian McManus, good result for him in Heat Race 1. He finishes 2nd. Andrew Watson continues his run of form in 3rd place. Then Tom Ingram comes to 4th place. Great result for Tom. Equaled his best result. Arturas Candelas, then it's Marchenkovas and Lewis Ward, who was running 2nd behind, in front of Campfield. Campfield finished 9th. Adam Dowling, good result for him in 8th. Ian Malone then in 10th. Then Pat Masterson, Dave Maguire, then Robert Moore, and then Harry McGovern with Tony Stack right behind him. I think McGovern is just going to hold on for this one. He's going to get the reverse grid pole, which has proved very, very effective every single week. Whoever started on the front row went on to win that one each time. So across the line, McGovern secures heat race, secures 20th, and the reverse grid pole. Jack Byrne will be next to him. Then it'll be Henneman and Sergey Gavin. But Oscar Mangan, I mean, that's probably the most dominant drive I've actually seen all season from him. That was spectacular.
It absolutely was. I think Silverstone might rival that, but last time out at Brands Hatch, I remember saying the gap's closed. He's not as dominant as he was, but that has absolutely proven me wrong. I mean, yeah, over 11 seconds per has pretty much a second a lap on everyone throughout the race. An absolutely huge margin in the end, and he's the favourite for race 2. Can he finally get that double? Of course, he's got a chance next week as well at Alton Park, but that's going to be really tricky with the overtaking we have at Alton Park. This is his best chance at the double, so I'm hoping that he finally manages to achieve that.
Yeah, he's been close so many times, and it's kind of a surprise that he hasn't done the double. But of course, last season, this is where Keith Dempsey secured his double. So we'll see if Mangan can do the same. And of course, Dempsey winning the TCR title last time. And Mangan putting on a similar dominant display. It'll be interesting to see who would win in a straight fight between Mangan and Dempsey. Be an interesting one to watch. But this is the Heat Race 1 results then. Oscar Mangan, dominant display. He wins by 11 seconds ahead of Brian McManus in 2nd. Andrew Watson in 3rd. Tom Ingram, a great drive once again, comes to 4th. Arturas Candelas, Valentinas Marchenkovas in 6th. Lewis Ward, Adam Dowling, Adrian Campfield, and Ian Malone. We all know what happened between Campfield and Ward, and Campfield letting Ward through, and he ends up 2 places ahead of him in the end. Malone, Masterson, Maguire, Moore, Pigeon, Breme, Murray, Sergey Gravin, Ronan Hederman, and then starting on the front row for this next race will be Jack Byrne and Harry McGovern. Then it's Tony Stack, Mark Burney, Dave Collier, Jean Montero, Wayne Douglas, Diarmuid Toomey, Johnny McMullen, Peter McCann, Rob O'Neill, Arias Yamantis, Aaron Kerry, James Wingfield, Michael McCarthy, and the non-finishers Kyle Stevens, Owen Murray, Andrew Hopley, who we saw in a couple of instances, unfortunately for Andrew. and then there'll be one or two more. That is either the classified finishers. And we now in the cool down phase, and 3 minutes of this one where the drivers get to calm down. But Mangan, I think he's been cursed, I think, in these feature races for the past couple of weeks. Every single time he's had a good lap one, but the second lap always seems to get involved in an instant. And let's see. I think we're all slightly hoping that he can finally get the double that he certainly deserves.
It's a tricky start though here, and we saw that in race 1. I think he was around, maybe 20, probably 20th place, I think, 20 to 25th, where we saw the major kickoff, just down at that hairpin at turn 2. And yeah, it's absolutely crazy down there, because such a massive braking area. It's pretty narrow as well. Everyone wants to get ahead, and all you need is one driver to mess up the braking slightly, just give a little bit of tap, and then it's the domino effect, the bowling pin effect all the way down the order. So hopefully you don't see anything like that, and hopefully it doesn't affect our championship leader whatsoever, Oscar Mangan. So yeah, could be as long as he gets through that, he should be on course for the race victory potentially. And quite unusually, I don't think we have any real top drivers starting near the front in this race too. Usually we have a couple of drivers who had like a real mare in race 1, who are actually in a pretty good position come race 2. But I'm just saying who's going to be at the front. Of course, McGovern, Brian, Hederman. Hederman's pretty quick. You've got Niall Murray there starting in about 6th place. You've also got Campfield, I guess, starting in 12th. But, I mean, that's really not that high up. So, yeah, good opportunity for Mangan, certainly, to finally get that one.
Yeah, bit of news regarding the incident between Ward and Campfield. From what we can understand, I think into the braking zone, the throttle stuck on Campfield's pedals and sent him straight into Ward. So, I was kind of thinking it was an equipment failure, and it certainly was. So, obviously non-intentional whatsoever from Campfield, but at least it wasn't race ending for the both of them. They're still starting for this heat race 2 and the feature race, but unfortunately for Lewis Ward and Campfield certainly didn't intend on that one, but they're both finishing, and they're both in this race anyway. Harry McGovern starting on pole for this one next to Jack Byrne, Ronan Hederman, Sergio Graben. Watch out for those two. Good pace in the cars right there. Niall Murray, Paul O'Brien, Willie Pigeon, Rob Moore, Dave McGuire, Pat Masterson, Ian Malone, Adrian Campfield starting 12th in this one. Adam Dowling, Lewis Ward in 14th. Then Marchenkovas, Kundelis, Tom Ingram, Andrew Watson, Brian McManus and Oscar Mangan from 20th. Can he finally get that double? Then Tony Stack, Mark Burney, Dave Collier, Jean Montero in 24th, Wayne Douglas, Diarmuid Toomey, Johnny McMullen, Peter McCann, Rob O'Neill, Arias Imantas, Aaron Kerry, James Wingfield, Michael McCarthy, Kyle Stevens, Owen Murray, and at the very, very back of the grid will be Andrew Hopley in 36th place on the grid. So Harry McGovern for the first time starts on the front row, as does Jack Byrne. And we've got to watch out for this one, because this is going to be a really interesting one. Watch out for Mangan, of course, as the lights are about to come on for the feature race from Snetterton. And a massive jump start. Who is that coming through? David McGuire with the biggest jump start I have ever seen. He said, screw it, I'm flooring it, I may as well. Dave McGuire is gone. Jack Byrne into 2nd place, now challenging for this essential race lead with the penalty that will come for Dave McGuire. Jack Byrne holds on. Harry McGovern now drops back. Hederman 4th, Murray 5th, Sergio Graben goes through now. Tom Ingram trying to make his way through. Watson moves ahead of him as they head toward the chicane. You can kind of see him losing under the braking there to try and make it all through safely there. Looks like they are good. Now Marchenko's into the side of Tom Ingram on the exit. That's going to send him round. I think Mangan, has he held on? Mangan is still circulating. No, he's dropped back actually. He had to go on the grass, so Mangan drops even further back to 24th place. Peter McCann is going to get himself involved in that one, trying to come around the outside of the championship leader, but they come through, so not the best start for Mangan. Challenging Imantas now up the inside. You can see McMullen as well up ahead of him as they head through down towards Hamilton. Up the inside, Mangan has a go. Can he get it stopped? I think he should be able to. A little bit of damage on the front car. Not the perfect start for Mangan, but he's kept the car going. But I am in awe. I have never seen a jump start as massive as that. Dave McGuire take a bow, I think.
Pastor Maldonado would be proud. David McGuire hopefully will serve that inevitable stop and go penalty. Will probably be upwards of 30 seconds. When it comes around, we've got a spinner. It's Collier and McMullen, seemingly Dowling. In fact, I think it might be Dowling and McMullen. Oh no, Dowling's had a separate incident. There he is, driver who started in in third place, 13th place, sorry, and he has yeah gone massively down the field as Adam Dallas. A shame for him. That's in the lead, effective lead. Jack Byrne and Harry McGovern trying to chase after him. Mark Murray's looking pretty good. Headerman is looking good. Campfield crucially up 5 places so far. Him and Ward 5 and 6 places. Looks like that battle's going to be renewed out here, and that could be for the race win later on as McGuire does serve that stuff.
Yeah, so I think we all knew that was coming. Oh, but that's Niall Murray around the outside of McGovern into turn 1. So Niall Murray, we know he's quick, so he's up to second. Can Headerman come through now? Gotta watch out for Campfield, who's challenging Willie Pigeon as well, coming into that hairpin. Campfield up the inside gets it stopped. He's up to 5th place now. So Campfield on a good run, and he's chasing after Ronan Headerman now onto the grass. Goes Willie Pigeon as they try to sort themselves out in the background. And that's Headerman going slowly now. They must have a slowdown penalty coming through now. So Campfield on the charge now for 4th place. And gotta watch out for Lewis Ward, who's right on him as well. So we know what happened between these two earlier. And Campfield's defending as he has to now have a look up the inside of Headerman. But Ward and Campfield are back together again, and they're on the charge up through the field. A little touch in the rear from Ward right there as they come through. But Mangan, still a good start, 14th. He hasn't ended up backwards in the grass. He certainly got involved on the inside, but he's still circulating just behind Tom Ingram, who's 13th, and Brian McManus in 12th. But the biggest movers of the leaders, of course, are Campfield and Ward, who are doing quite well in 5th and 6th place. But now Campfield needs to find a way past Roland Headerman.
Oh, big slide for Campfield, and he's going to lose that position, and that could be his chances at a race win gone. But Adrian Campfield dipping a wheel onto the grass, I think on the inside that time, and losing adhesion to the surface, and he almost spun round down to 10th place, down to 9th place, with Watson right behind him as well. So that's really opened the door now for Lewis Ward, who's got to be the favourite to win this race, if not Mangan, obviously, as well. But that's such a shame for Campbell. I was just about to say, really tricky situation for Ward, because you want to be... Oh, so actually we've got 2 by 2. That's going to be contact, and that's McManus and Mangan also coming up to the back of these drivers. It's all going very clumsy with the 7 down the inside of the 11, and Watson goes sliding off the track. It was such a great race 1, such a great race 2 for him last week, and that is the first big setback he's seen in this series. And you can kind of see that coming from a little while ago. It's all very tight between the 4.
Now we look at Headerman coming back towards Spinner in the back. That's Campfield off as well. There's another couple of cars. I think that was Rob Moore spinning in turn 1. Kodelis goes through. Marchenko is battling with Tom Ingram as they rub doors into the hairpin. But now that's brought Oscar Mangan right into this one. There he is in the number 99 right behind them. So Moore spinning in turn 1. Marchenko is back up the inside of Ingram now for... That'll be 10th place they're battling for now. Mangan's now there. McManus has lost out because I think he touched the rear of Watson. Ingram now trying to come back at Marchenko. It's a good battle here between these guys. Ingram, he did this earlier in heat race 1. Now Marchenko is trying to hang around the outside. He's managed to do that, but now Mangan is maybe going to get a double move here. They're rubbing doors as they come towards here. This is proper good racing between the two of them. Oh, there's going to be contact, and losing the rear is Marchenko as they entered the corner. He keeps it going, but just lost it on the braking, and now has to rejoin back in 17th, possibly 18th place. Dermot Toomey comes around his outside, and they carry on. Just lost it on the braking there, unfortunately, but that promotes Oscar Mangan to 11th. Tom Ingram is now 10th, just behind Adrian Campfield. Is still out front. It's still Jack Byrne, but he's being chased heavily by Niall Murray.
Stayed in that. Oh, and off the circuit,
Murray.
And that is Murray missing the corner. And I was fearing right there for Jack Byrne that he might be wiped out right there, but Murray with a very strange mistake, carrying way too much speed. And well, hopefully you haven't seen another driver with that throttle pedal, Jan. No, he just pushed a little bit too hard, got on the grass, and then realised his mistake, and he was fortunate not to take out the race leader right there. So it's another self-spin for these drivers to show the difficulty of this next circuit. They don't have elevation change necessarily to deal with, but there's certainly danger lurking at every corner. Behind McGovern, Hedeman and Ward. Here comes Ward. Needs to get through the order as quick as possible because Campfield is catching him back up again. Ward tries to go to the inside. The move is covered on though by Hedeman, who wants to finish on the podium. although those chances are looking rather slim at the moment, but it's costing Ward a lot of time. Byrne is pulling away, Campfield is catching up, Mangan is catching up, Ingram is catching up every corner that he stays behind, but this next corner, this next hairpin, perhaps his next best opportunity.
Big defensive move from Hederman. There's the heading into this next corner. Now Ward trying to come around, makes contact with the rear. Hederman has to get out of the throttle there on the exit. Now Ward will have the inside for this next corner. Should get it on the braking. And he does move through to third place now. As in behind, you got Willie Pigeon, Campfield, Candelas. Mangan has got past Tom Ingram. He's into 8th place now. Campfield looking on Willie Pigeon as well as they come through. It looks like he might have just not quite able to move up the inside. But Mangan, this is looking good. This is the cleanest feature race he's had so far. Still in with a chance of his win, I'm sure. As they head down the straight, you can see Campfield tucked in behind Willie Pigeon for 5th place. Mangan chasing after this train. You can see Jack Burns still leads. Campfield with the move up the inside. Pigeon opens the door and Campfield is ahead. Yes, just about. Pigeon goes late on the brakes. He's unable to make it past. Candelas now says, I'll have that one as well up the inside. Follows him straight through. 3rd place in the Pro-Am class. We actually have a Pro-Am driver leading this race, and Jack Byrne is leading this one. Then McGovern and Ward, Hederman, Campfield, Candelas, Pigeon, and Mangan, who's now going to also try and get past Willie Pigeon, who is also now just being chased by Tom Ingram, who's in 9th place there. There he is. Then it's Brian McManus. Now we look at Mangan coming to the outside of Pigeon, and Hederman's into the pit lane. It must be damage for Hederman or a penalty. As coming across the line, they begin lap 5 of 20. Mangan with the fastest lap. Can he go around the outside? No. Pigeon defends. Now looking for the cut back up the inside. Has he got that spot on? It's just going to clout the curve, but he does find the space on the inside and into the hairpin. There's going to be nothing that Pigeon can do about this one. He's late on the brakes, but Mangan has the inside line. There's nothing he could have done. And going through there, brave stuff from Mangan, and he's able to go through to 6th place, chasing after Arturos Candelas. Not the easiest one. I think possibly a heart and mouth moment when he clouded that curve there.
Yeah, the car could have speared off in any direction there, but you can see the race leader, can't you? You can see everyone that he's got to overtake, and as long as he isn't held up too much by each of these drivers, he should be on course for the lead by within about 10 laps or so. Next up for Mangan, then it's going to be Kundalis, who doubt will put up too much of a fight. Will Kundalis is usually quite a responsible driver, has scored lots of points this season. McManus ahead of Murray. Ingram versus McManus, that'll be a tight battle. There goes Ingram, going to get past Willie Pigeon at the moment. He's lost, what, 5 places in the last lap or so. However, Ingram with a slight overspeed, just behind of McManus and Murray, catching up as well, squeezing him there, and contact between the two of them down the back straight. Ingram will have to go the long way round here to get the inside for the next corner. I think that is what he's been able to do, and now big contacts over the curb for McManus, and he did well not to make contact, but time being lost by these guys. Pigeons are a difficult customer to deal with.
Yeah, looks like it. McManus now 9th. Murray's recovered well after his spin at that corner just behind. McManus just trying to find his way. He made contact with Andrew Watson through there as they come up to start lap 6. And looks like Lewis Ward is into 2nd place. He is indeed. That's the fastest lap, but that's taken by Campfield, who's closing in the background. And you can see this is getting really tasty now. Jack Byrne is only 2 seconds up the road, and Lewis Ward certainly has the pace to catch, but he needs to do it quickly as Campfield's not far away. This could prove interesting. The two of these coming to blows, of course, in race number 1, Campfield. And you see Mangan making the move on Kundelas for 5th place. He's up to 5th place, and Mangan now well within shot of this race win later on, but he's got to, of course, now open the taps. He's got to catch up to Campfield. He's got to catch up to those leaders to try and get through. See Ingram holding on in the background. He's leading a train of Pigeon, McManus and Murray. Murray trying it on McManus in the background. I don't know if he's going to be able to get that stopped. Yeah, a big twitch from Mangan on the exit there. You can see Murray makes it through on McManus for 9th place. McManus, it's a good race, but also it's not the same that he needs to follow Mangan in the championship, and McManus also could be at risk of losing that 2nd place come the drop scores. And now Mangan has got the task of chasing down Adrian Campfield, his closest competitor in this championship on pace, and Campfield's now got to try and find a way through past Harry McGovern, who was the pole sitter, but you can see visibly that Lewis Ward is catching Jack Byrne for this lead.
Yeah, it's down to, well, it was 1.5 seconds on the last lap. We'll compare lap times as well on this time round. And yeah, Campfield now just 2/10 of a second behind. Should be able to get McGowan, I imagine, into turn one, who did not defend whatsoever against Ward. But it's going to be tricky for Mangan to win this one. You certainly know Campfield and Ward will be incredibly tough customers. I think most likely McGowan will almost lift off as he is doing right now to allow Campfield pass up into the top three. Now is Adrian. So on that last lap, Byrne with a 57.18, actually his best lap of the race. Ward at 55.83, so 1.3 seconds
He's going
faster.
for it.
And in fact, he's already moving past. It's a very easy overtake. Byrne knows that there's no point in fighting. And now this is the big time for Lewis Ward. This is his opportunity to build a big gap. He needs to set 55s after 55s because he can see the race win about 14 laps away from him now.
Yeah, this is a crucial phase of the race for Lewis Ward. He has to open the gap now because Campfield's not far off. And we all know that Mangan is also not far off in 5th place. As we begin halfway around this 7th lap of this 20-lap feature race. It is Ward now leading this race. He led in Brands Hatch, of course, but he came to contact in feature race, which sent him into the wall in Druids, hoping for a better one today. And it looks like all good so far, but now Campfield has got to get past Byrne quickly. He's got to make his way through and chase after Ward. We know that these guys are very equally matched on pace. It's a hard job at stake for Campfield to even catch up because the gap is slowly opening out each time, and Mangan's also closing in on McGovern as well. So this is not over at this point in time. This is only coming to a climax later on in this race. Campfield closing in on Jack Byrne for this 2nd place in this race. We'll see if Lewis Ward can maybe secure that feature. So can we keep the run of different winners going, continuing in this feature race? We'll have a look and you can see Byrne just losing a lot of time to this long right-hander. Now Campfield needs to be patient here. He's going to have the speed on Byrne here on the exit, I'm sure. And will he just move over like he did last time? Again, I think Byrne has got a slightly better exit. He's going to move over to the left-hand side, but Campfield didn't have the speed that time, so he's going to be stuck behind for a little while longer. And you can see the lap time was still 2/10 of a second, but there, Oscar Mangan on the 55.1, and he's behind McGovern. Now he's visibly there. And now Byrne defends, but Campfield late on the brakes around the outside. He's going to make contact, but no, there's nothing he can do. That's going to cost him time, and he gets sent out wide. There's a bit of impatience coming in between Campfield and Byrne right now. Flashing lights, he's not happy with that one, but Campfield needs to be patient because he's going to drop into the hands of Oscar Mangan now.
That was odd, wasn't it? Because Byrne didn't defend against Ward, did he? He pretty much just opened the line for Ward. Maybe Ward got him unawares. As there goes Campfield now. And that was almost telegraphed there. Oh, big onto the grass. Now can McGovern move past as well? Not quite. Now they're going to slow each other up so much. Here comes Mangan with a very strong run to Hamilton. Not close enough for the right-hander, though. And worrying for Mangan that McGovern might have the situation. However, McGovern now opens up the line. And Mangan's up into 5th position now. Gap, by the way, for Ward. He's opened it up to 2 seconds. That was how far he was able to stretch his legs. Mangan now 3.4 seconds off the lead. Just for reference, he was lapping approximately 7/10 of a second faster than Ward and Campfield in race 1. So mathematically, he should have time. The question is, can he overtake? And he's got to get past Byrne straight away as well. Here he goes into Coram. And again, very simple for him. No opportunity for Byrne to defend, although he's kind of keeping his nose in there. He will come back down the inside in the last corner. He's not there. So now we've got probably the 3 fastest drivers out in the race. Now out in the lead. However, they're not quite in the order of pace amongst themselves.
Personal best from Ward. And you can see Campfield was slower that time due to the incidents that was between them, as was Mangan. So Ward now 2.2 seconds ahead of Adrian Campfield. Oscar Mangan now on the podium in 3rd place. Jack Byrne drops to 4th. Harry McGovern, Cundalis, Ingram, McManus, Pigeon and Yamantis up to 10th place. That's a good drive from Marius Yamantis inside the top 10. And of course he got the podium last time in the feature. It has not gone his way today. So now Lewis Ward, he's got the best part of 11 laps to try and hold on because we know Mangan is the fastest out of these guys. He was taking a second a lap out of these guys earlier on in Heat Race 1. So can Mangan finally do the double today? Can he get on the top step of the podium? We'll wait and see. But Ward has it for now. And these guys, Campfield onto the grass. You can see he's pushing, but that's going to lose him time even more because Mangan is closing in, and he's closing in for the kill. He'll have seen that. I don't know. Right. I know I've got this guy now. And he's going to try and close that gap. The gap is about a second between them now as they close onto the back straight. And I wonder, is that stuck throttle pedal coming into the table again? Because Campfield seems to be uncharacteristically a little bit messy today compared to his normal smooth driving.
Yeah, that's a good point. We have seen him have a few offs so far in this race, haven't we? Whilst Ward, I don't think we've seen him pick up a 1x all day. So yeah, Campfield, I think he's absolute chaser in this situation. Just trying to get that 101% to catch up to Ward. He's got the chasing to do. It's much easier to drive when you're the chaser rather than the chased. But once again, runs too wide, and Mangan's going to be onto him by the end of the straight gap down to 7 tenths of a second. So he'll survive this time. These little mistakes, good driving takes so long to make up the second day lost on that lap. Look at that, a 56.5. You know that he can easily set 55 when he's in good form, Campfield, and that is a costly lap. Now, will he let Mangan go and let him chase after Ward? There might be an instant between the top two potentially if he does that, or will he try to stay in second place? That's his decision to make.
Yeah, I wonder. Campfield, of course, he's struggling today for whatever reason. Obviously, the equipment failure, maybe just the throttle pedal not working the way he wants it to. So coming down into this next corner, Mangan, and now right on his tail. So we'll see now. I think Mangan should have him fairly easily on the straight. That is if Campfield lifts off, which I'm not sure he's going to do. I think he's going to want to maybe try and hold Mangan behind him to maybe give Ward the chance to open out the gaps even more. Because I think we want to keep that winning streak of different winners in the feature race going. We'll see if Mangan can get up there. We'll see now with the run out of this straight now onto this Bentley straight now in the slipstream. He's not going to be close enough this time, but he's surely going to have him in the next couple of... You can see the speeds they're reaching here up into the regions of 240 kilometers an hour onto the brakes. Just see a couple of dabs of the brakes there, looking for space. Mangan is really starting to get held up here by Campfield as the gap now 3.2 between Ward and Campfield as they come through. You see Mangan is so almost touching the bumper. He's going to have a go around the outside. He's trying to find space, but Campfield is defending, and you'd see Mangan's having to tap the brake each time to keep himself behind. So certainly not. Campfield is definitely not going to... A little touch in the rear maybe on the way through there, and Campfield runs wide. Mangan goes through. I wonder, was there a touch there, or was that a mistake from Campfield? But either way, Mangan to second. Now the chase is on.
From what I could see, there wasn't a tap. It just seemed like he took too much curb. Did Campfield once again ran wide through the final corner, and his only hopes that a race win now is for the top two to make contact. So Mangan 3.7 seconds behind. He's let's be generous toward, let's say 6 tenths of a second. Also generous to me because that makes the maths easier. That means that he will catch up in 6 laps, which will mean by the start of lap 17 he will be with him. So he should have 4 laps to overtake him, I think, mate. And that's if both of them set extremely good lap times. Obviously there is a little bit of variance there. If Ward can absolutely nail these remaining laps, he might have a chance of keeping a little bit of a gap to the end. But Mangan should be on course now. It's just Ward trying to limit the amount of opportunities that Mangan has later on in the race. A bit further back, by the way, we've got Toomey battling with Graben and Dowling. Certainly saw Dowling have a spin over. I'm seeing that Graben is down 11 places. I imagine he had an off as well. And there goes Graben. In fact, although it's not a good enough exit, because yeah, Dowling went spearing off the track. And they've also got Hopley as well, 1.6 seconds behind after that. Mayor of a first race for Hopley. That's a dive though from Adam Dowling. Moves up into 15th place. That was a little bit late on the bricks.
Yep, nicely done, I think, from Adam Dowling. Also on a good drive at the moment is also Peter McCann. He's up to 12th place now, climbing up through the field slowly. We'll continue now. Andrew Hopley closing in on these guys as they continue the battle. Sergey and Adam Dowling and Dermot Toomey And then Peter McCann and Ian Malone just a little bit further up the road there as we begin lap number 11. Lap number 12 now, as Mangan and Ward cross the line to begin that one. Have a look at the lap times now. 55.8. What is Mangan? 55.3. That's a half a second out of Ward that lap, and a personal best for Campfield. So Campfield's starting to maybe just start to get it back a little bit now. As we now look at Tom Ingram, who's closing on Harry McGovern. McGovern was the pole starter. I wonder, is Tom going to have a pop here on the inside? McGovern defends. You've obviously seen that coming on the outside. Tom Ingram trying to go late on the brakes, going to try and open the door and then kind of switch back underneath. See if he can get that done. He's going to be slightly alongside. He is going to be alongside, but McGovern will have the inside line for the next corner, and he holds on for now. But Ingram looking for another top 10 finish right here. Candelas not too far up the road. Candelas actually closing in on Jack Byrne for 4th place as well. Here comes Ingram now. You can see McGovern really starting to fade, but Ingram finds the space on the inside. Harry McGovern has to open the door, and Ingram goes through. Can he hold on? He just about does. And I think that's the 3rd time we've seen him make a move there and force the issue, and he had to. McGovern had to leave the space, and Ingram through to 6th, and Ingram on some really consistent drives of late now.
I guess it's just his run through turn 3 which enables him to get so close for turn 4. But as you say, Ingram extremely consistent. He knows this because he started so many races earlier on in the season from the back. It's really only since Brands Hatchley he's actually been starting these races from a decent position, and since then he's really established himself as one of the top 5 drivers in this series. As that's a lot of curb. The drivers absolutely bouncing up and down and up and down. There goes Kundelis to the top of the Pro-Am drivers, past Jack Byrne, who has had an awesome race. Byrne, remember, led for many laps, but Kundelis should be able to pull away. And I think Kundelis' chances of being an amateur driver for next season are extremely low, because he's been one of the best drivers all season.
Yeah, looking good. Now the lap times again, it's another 4/10 from Mangan on Ward. That lap, it's 1:55. It's not like Ward's times are bad, they're quick, but Mangan is just lapping consistently at pole time. There goes Byrne trying again. Candelas gets caught off guard, and Byrne goes trying to go through on the inside. Now I think he backs off a little bit there just to try and let him hold off for a while, but Ingram's now closing in now. That's allowed Ingram to close up to these guys. Late on the brakes a little bit there is going to cost him a bit of time on the exit. But he could be on course for maybe another 4th place here if Ingram could get past Byrne, if he's got the pace to keep up with Candelas. But Campfield is a little ways out of reach right now. The top 3 are completely gone in this race. And that's a spinner. That's Mark Burney, who's lost it on the exit there. He's got it back going again. No issues, but gets it back on the track. Now Tom Ingram closing in for 5th place. Harry McGovern in 7th. And it's a Brian McManus then right behind. A big gap back to Willie Pigeon, almost 10 seconds back to those guys in the background. That is Willie Pigeon on his own in 9th place, with Arias Yamantis in 10th place, the podium finisher from last week for the first time. He's in 10th and on course for another top 10 finish, which will not be a bad result for Arias. Again, we go back now to Ian Malone, who's just lost a spot, and now we still stick with this battle. These guys are still battling. Sergio Graben on the inside of Diarmuid Toomey as he got it stopped. He should have it, but no, Toomey around the outside. And watch out for Andrew Hopley, who's still in this one. These guys have been battling for ages. Toomey back up the inside, but Sergio around the outside. This will give him the inside line for the next corner. He's actually ahead. He's a car length ahead as they come through. So Sergio holds on for now, but Andrew Hopley now right in this one. But a good move from Sergio there. A good little bit of battling going on for the lower part of the points here.
Started up in 4th place did Sergey. So very much not the race they wanted. And Hopley, of course, up 20 places. Also up 20 places is Diamantis. But these two are the highest gainers on the entire order. I think McManus may have just overtaken McGovern. So up into 7th place now is Brian McManus. There he is. Past McGovern. Yeah, did overtake him on that last lap. 56.29. Pretty good. So they did have to overtake a driver, so half a second faster for Mangan than Ward. Gap's down to 2 seconds now, so he's at the moment on target to catch up with probably 3 laps to go, so I was predicting 4 laps to go early on. Kate's faster at the moment. Well, it'll probably actually be with about 3 laps to go instead. So he's able to stretch this out a little bit, Ward, and we have seen so far this season Mangan be frustrated in these races too. Of course, we saw at Silverstone one of the best races I've ever seen, one of the best duels at least I've I've ever seen whilst being a commentator, where he was defended for 2 laps against a much slower opponent. So it's possible in these GT4 cars, and that's what Mangan's going to have to do.
Yeah, indeed. Tom Ingram into 5th place now. He's got past Jack Byrne, so Tom Ingram into the top 5 once again. From starting further down the order, there is just Arturos Kundelis coming through in 4th place. And then we have Tom Ingram, who's just got past with Jack Byrne, maybe starting to come back at him now. You also got Brian McManus getting involved in this as well. McManus is on a good drive here. Now up the inside of Jack Byrne, and it's going to come straight across his nose, and Ingram's just going to hold on right there. That was extremely close. Big defense from Jack Byrne. They somehow come out alive at that one right there. And just Byrne cutting off McManus as he comes into the inside line, as Byrne went for the move to come back at Ingram. They were lucky to come out of that one alive, but they do carry on. And McManus, I wouldn't count him out of a top 5 here, but it's still a good drive from McManus. Of course, started down in 19th place. So still a good drive from McManus and Bless. Actually, interestingly enough, Mangan slower than Ward that time by a 1/10 of a second. So is Ward doing enough? The gap's 2.3 seconds. So I wonder, it could come right down to the wire. So that prediction of 3 laps might be now 2 or possibly 1 if he's able to gain the pace back. But Ward is controlling this now.
That's a poor lap from Mangan, a 55.9. That's 0.8 of a second slower than his best lap. Of course, you can't expect him to do his best lap, but I think that's one of the worst laps we've seen him do all day. And remember, he was out in the lead in race 1, really comfortable. He was in the 55.3s that he was probably averaging back then. But he's just struggling for that consistency now, and this is where you need that ultimate pace. This is where you need to drive at your very best, and at the moment, Mangan not quite accessing that. He's not going bad, but he needs to really get that last 5%. However, he should be able to catch in time still. 2.2 seconds of the gap is. On that first section, in fact, Mangan lost another 0.2 of a second. So Ward is driving as fast as he can. He has been phenomenal so far, all mid 55s to high 55s for Ward. Haven't seen him dip into the 56s all day long. You can check out the live timing, by the way, in the description below. There's a link to the SDK Gaming live timing, and that will let you know all the drivers' last lap times, their best lap times, and all of that stuff. It is really useful in a situation like this. And yeah, now the gap 1.9 seconds. So better second sector there for Mangan, 1/4 of a second faster. So seems like he has regrouped, but he's almost lost a lap and a half of potential gain time whilst he was making a couple of small mistakes.
Let's have a look at the times. This time should be slightly quicker for Mangan. We'll see Ward across the line to set a 1:55.6, a 55.5. So from Mangan, so 1/10 of a second gain. You can see that Ward's times have been consistent. Mangan has been obviously he's been gaining half a second up to that point. So I wonder, is he just backing off a little bit, maybe to save a little bit of tyre grip potentially? Or is he just maybe just settling into the second place? Does he even want to catch Ward? I'm sure he wants to win, I'm sure. But Ward is just about doing enough at this point to secure his first race win. And Mangan trying to do the double today, the double he's been trying to do for so long. Brian McManus, we were talking about he was on such a good drive. I think he's just been in to repair some damage, and he's back down to 14th place now, coming out of the pit lane. Unfortunate for Brian, but that has ended his chances of, I think, securing the even having an inkling of trying to gain points.
Yeah, and of course, yeah, the championship does look like it's going to be heading to Mangan with the drop score system we have in this series. McManus, yeah, losing a few points. In third place going into this round was Marcinkiewicz. Apparently, the drivers don't have enough fuel to get to the end of the race. So it's a fixed setup series, this, as a reminder. So the fuel is exactly the same for all the drivers. And they're complaining that this 20 laps perhaps is too far. One driver is saying that, we should just point out. But I wonder if we could ride on board with Lewis Ward to see if he's having to lift and coast now in order to get his car to the finish. We've got 4 laps to go, and maybe that was the reason why McManus came into the pits, because he knew that he was going to have to take fuel. But let's see if he's lifting pacing here.
Yeah, let's see. Not slightly.
All right.
I wonder, was Mangan saving fuel? Because look at the times now, 155.2 to a 155.9. Was Mangan even more aware that the fuel wasn't enough? And was he just saving fuel for those times? A little bit of lift and coast action, because the times are now back on pace. And you can see it's nearly 7/10 of a second, that time, between them. So an interesting dynamic has been discovered. Jack Byrne into the pit lane, Harry McGovern into the pit lane, and there's multiple cars going to be making pit stops for fuel now. And we've never seen this all championship. This is, of course, unusual to see that they're all in a fixed setup, so everyone is on the same fuel. But now we've got something that we haven't had before, where the drivers have now got to save fuel.
One of the just weirdly taking tyres. Got to make sure that you untick the tyres before you come into the pits. Now, some drivers might come into the pits. Some drivers might try to eke it out. I imagine not pitting would be the fastest strategy, but if you got to lap 17 and you haven't been saving fuel this whole time, then it's a little bit too late, and you're pretty much already committed to that strategy. So let's see if either of the leaders come into the pit. I doubt anyone will take tyres who remember to untick their tyres. That would be an absolutely disastrous thing to do. But 3 laps to go at the end of this one. The gap's down to 1.3 seconds now. So far on this lap, about 0.3 of a second faster for Mangan. Can either of them edge out another lap? They'd like to go as far as possible so that they don't come out in traffic, and they won't be on a minimum fuel as well, where the lap time should be better. So does Ward come into the pits? No, he doesn't, and Mangan doesn't come into the pits either. So maybe they're going to try to go to the end.
Well, let's see what's going to happen here, because if the drivers are saying the personal best from Ward that time, Mangan was quicker, but still, it's a good lap from Ward nonetheless. 3 laps to go. Fuel is now an issue, and we'll see if anybody else is going to take a stop. That's Willie Pigeon under pressure from Yamantis, and we saw that Pigeon was, I don't know if he made a stop, but I think he's struggling with fuel now. Pigeon he's in 6th place, and Yamantis was in 10th, don't forget. So now they're making positions up as a result of this. So is Pigeon now starting to struggle with fuel, and you can start to see that Yamantis now, Tony Stack is stacking up behind, for want of a pun, and Yamantis now trying up the inside of Yamantis into turn number 1. There's a couple of drivers making pit stops now. Ian Malone is into the pit lane. As you can see now, that's Tony Stack through to 7th place on Yamantis. And now, so Malone is the only one to pit on this lap. Sergey Graben and is now up to 9th place, back up to 9th place. You can see McManus and Peter McCann's on a fantastic drive into 11th. And he's now on the back of his teammate, Brian McManus, who's in 10th place. McManus is pitted, don't forget. He's got fuel to go to the end. So I wonder, is McManus now, he's got enough fuel to obviously go to the end and see if he can charge past. Because obviously he's going to be hoping that these guys are going to run out of fuel and he's going to be able to make positions easily.
Surely if one comes into the pits, they've all got to come to the pits, because we haven't seen any lifting and coasting. I feel like Pigeon might be lifting and coasting. I don't know. I thought he was before. And Hamilton, you can't be lifting and coasting much into Hamilton anyway. But he seems to be pushing pretty hard anyway. Is Pigeon not leaving anything on the table? But here comes the Amantis, who's going to get past and gap out in the lead by way down to 0.8 of a second, as this queue really does start to form up. McCann just at the rear of it. Here comes McManus on Graben. Graben has the draft from the drivers ahead.
Mangan and Camfield in.
Aha, here we go. Ward stays out.
Wow, okay, right. This is now a crucial one. Ward is trying to go to the end. Mangan has come in for fuel. Campfield has pitted for fuel. Another twist in the saga of this race. They've noticed they can't go to the end. But now the driver's Condelis is going to try and go to the end as well, I would imagine. So that puts Oscar Mangan is still in 3rd, so he's still going to hold on for a podium. But can Lewis Ward get this car to the end with the fuel? Ingram comes ahead of Campfield. He's into 4th place now. So we'll see. This is really, really interesting what we're watching right now. We've never seen this in this championship. The driver's on a fixed setup, so surely if Mangan has pitted, Ward is going to pit. But now he's going to be wary of the gap back to Mangan. Can he come in and come out in front of Mangan?
I think he will come in on this lap, because yeah, everyone's surely got to fit in this race. But Ward has been lapping faster than anyone else. He's been absolutely maximising these times, time after time. But we've still got about half the field yet to come into the pits. I imagine a couple will be able to do it, but not everyone. You can see Kundal is there, yet to come into the pits. He's in second place, 56.62 on that last lap for Kundal. So I doubt he's fuel saving much because that's still a strong lap time. It's getting really chaotic here. Pigeon keeping these drivers behind. Look at that move down the inside for the 28 of McManus. Oh, what a beauty that was. And he's managed to get ahead of, oh sorry, that wasn't, this was Yamantis going down the inside, and he's still got the inside. Pigeon holding on firm though, however, into the right-hander, and he just about stays ahead for now. Pit stop for Ward. Yes,
Here we
there
go.
is. So this is make or break.
One more lap to go. The white flags. I wonder will he trigger? He might trigger the check the white flag before we come across here. But now Lewis Ward is in. Is Condelis gonna pit? I wonder. Can he maybe try and stay out? We'll try and see. But this is for the race win. He only needs fuel for a lap and away.
Oh,
he stalls it on the way out. So Condelis now comes in to the pit lane. Has he got enough out of the pit lane? Is he now on the pit exit? Lewis Ward, I think he might have just done enough here as they come towards turn 1. Oscar Mangan. Oh, it's going to be very, very close as they come towards turn 1. Ward, has he done enough? No! Oscar Mangan's done it. He jumps Lewis Ward in the pit stop. That was a really quick lap from Oscar Mangan. He may do the double. Has he finally done it? Coming towards the hairpin. Ward just does not have enough. That was uber close. I think just that little mistake, that stall coming out of the pit lane, has just cost Lewis Ward the win.
That's strange, wasn't it? I guess it was a stall then, and that's the second gone. He would have had the inside line as well for the first corner, and you're absolutely right, probably gone. Ingram has stayed out. Ingram, Stack, Hopley, Yamantis, Graben, McCann, Pigeon. They've all stayed out. Very slow on that last lap as well for Ingram. At 1 minute 59, that's about 4 seconds slower than the lap times he was doing earlier on. So he's fuel saving, so he might be coasting across the line potentially. But heartbreak for Ward. He will so regret that one. And I think without the pit stop, he may well have won this one because he had track position and the undercut was a possibility in the air for Mangan, and he's absolutely taken it.
Yeah, that was a twist in the tail. We did not expect it. That it was so close. It was a car lens coming out of the pit lane. Ward did everything to try and cover it, but there was nothing he could have done. Malone spins. Ian Malone around. Back to the front we go. As Ian Malone tries to get the car back going, he does get back going again, but that's going to drop him way down the order. Unfortunate for Ian on the way in, but the day has finally come for Oscar Mangan. How long has he been waiting for a feature race win for the double? Coming round the final corner, the twist of this race, the twists and turns of this has been amazing. But coming to the line, he's finally done the double. Oscar Mangan wins the feature race at Snetterton. Lewis Ward, the biggest heartbreak. Your heart goes out to him with the best result of second, but he gets beaten to the win by Oscar Mangan. Adrian Campfield will come across to take third place with a great drive. Is Tom Inger going to make the line? Yes, he is. He has not stopped, and he's going to coast across the line for 2 fourth place finishes for the BTCC drive. You can see him, like the car's jumping around with no fuel, but he's got it done. Great drive from Tom Inger. Tony Stack's going to make the finish as well with almost 0 fuel. 6th place for Tony Stack, best result for him. Brian McManus right on his tail across the line. Andrew Hopley, Arias Imantas, and Sergey Gravin is going to come across the line for 10th. And oh, Willie Pigeon's run out of fuel right before the line. Willie Pigeon, he did everything to try and hold these guys behind. Is he going to even make it across the line? I don't think he's going to be able to. He'll try and do it, but coming across the line, everyone else managed to get across the line. He's going to lose places. Adam Dowling goes through, Diarmid Toomey goes through, and it's a small uphill coming to the finish. So Pigeon trying to limp that GT4 car across the line with no fuel in the tank. Marchenkovich is going to go through. Jack Byrne is going to come through. I don't know. Is he just going to be able to do it as they come to the line? Michael McCarthy goes through. Masterson's going to go through as well, I think. And it doesn't look like that car is moving at all. As he comes to the line, he's not going to make it. Willie Pigeon, I think, is, I don't know. It's very close. He may just across the line, and I think he may. And also, Michael McCarthy's run out of fuel as well. This is incredible. I've never quite seen this before. And Willie Pigeon has made it across the line, and Michael McCarthy with no fuel is also just going to creep across the line as well. João Monteiro out of fuel. These guys tried to get it to the end, but in the most incredible tale of strategy that has never been done in this championship, Oscar Mangan jumps Lewis Ward to the win, and I'm sure that we're going to hear some interesting interviews from these guys.
Mangan doesn't usually have a chat with us. Hopefully we have a chat with him this time. because it will be really interesting and also one. And Ingram as well. We can guarantee Ingram will have a chat with us. The guy who managed to pull off that zero stop. I think the zero stop was the best way to go as well. Ingram in the end finished 16 seconds behind. I don't know. I guess he was 10 seconds behind before, wasn't he? I think if you knew from the start that you're going to run out of fuel, then probably the zero stopper was the best way. But I think these guys only realised with 5 to go and had to go for that last lap pit stop. Scenes. Absolute scenes at Snetterton.
Oscar Mangan finally does it. Done the double. Lewis Ward behind him by 1.7 seconds. That was all it took. Adrian Campfield in third. Tom Ingram in fourth. Arturas Candelas, Tony Stacker, Brian McManus, Andrew Hopley, Ari Simantis, and Sergey Graben. Then Peter McCann, Wayne Douglas, Kyle Stevens, Ronan Hederman, Adam Dowling, Dermot Toomey, Ian Malone, Valentinas Marchenkovic in 18th place. And then we'll have another look further down as we close in on the finish. Jack Byrne and Harry McGovern, believe it, those are the guys who started on the front row and they ended up in 19th and 20th respectively. Willie Pigeon got across the line eventually, but he was in 6th. Pat Masterson, Jean Montero, Michael McCarthy, Paolo Breme, Aaron Kerry, Johnny McMullen, Mark Birney, and then a few more. We have Rob O'Neill, Niall Murray, Owen Murray, Rob Moore, Dave Collier, Andrew Watson, Dave McGuire, and James Wingfield, who come across the line in 36th place. So I actually think this was actually one of the longer races of the season because we actually don't have a lot of time to do the interviews. I think we may just have time to, will we grab a chat with Adrian Campfield? We'll try and get Adrian Campfield into the box with us. Adrian, welcome to the box once again. So
Hello.
It was a 9th place in race 1, a 3rd place in race 2. Interesting dynamic for race 2 as a lot of guys were running out of fuel. Talk us through that one. When did you notice that the fuel wasn't enough?
About five, 6 laps to go when I was on about lap 13 and it said I had 5 laps of fuel left and I was thinking in my head, okay, I don't think I'm going to make it here. And then Oscar put a chat in the game saying he's not going to make it. And then obviously, I was like watching it go down. I was like, I am going to have to pit. So I went in, and as I went in, the 2 in front went in as well. So it was added a new dimension to the race. It was interesting. It's good.
Yeah, so obviously that race 1 battling with Lewis Wards. Talk us through that contact. I believe there was an equipment failure there of some sort.
Yeah, I was at the end of the straight. I wasn't trying to overtake. I was nowhere near ready to overtake. I just pressed the brake, and for some reason, something glitched, and my computer, the screen just sort of went still, and the throttle stayed full all the way till basically I hit him. And then when I watch the replay back, the brakes don't come on until after I've hit him. But it was, I don't know, I've never had that before. It just sort of glitched, and yeah, it's a shame. I didn't want to do that for Lewis. He was driving well, and yeah, it's a shame. And I thought he was gonna, well, in my head, I was gonna try and hold Oscar back a little bit just to sort of let Lewis get away a little bit more, maybe. But I made a mistake in the last corner, and Oscar got by. So yeah, that sort of plan to help Lewis back didn't happen. But yeah, it was a good race.
Great. So just one more question for me from here before maybe passing on to Sam. So obviously, again, it was another podium in race 2. So obviously this does good stuff for your championship as well, with Brian McManus finishing further down. Ulton Park next week as well. Are you confident heading into that round that you might be able to just get further up the championship again?
Should be, yeah. In the last EMS championship, it went relatively well around there. Oscar's got to do something extremely bad to lose this championship now, and I think it's sort of a battle between myself and Brian for second. So yeah, looking forward to it. It should be a good finale, and hopefully aiming to finish second in the championship again. So yeah, it'll be another good season, and great that the DMS guys put this on. Niall and everyone there does a great job, and so do you guys. When I watch the stream back, I usually finish here, jump straight into the front room, and stick the stream back on to see what goes on. But yeah, it's good.
Good stuff. Sam?
Yeah, I was just wondering, Adrian, like, of course, you drove the TCR around these very circuits last season, and now in the GT4s. I mean, when you jump into practice, does it take a little bit of a while to stop driving it like a front wheel car and instead drive it like a rear wheel drive car?
Yeah, they're completely different cars. One wants to understeer everywhere on the exit of the corner, and the other one wants to oversteer on you on the exit of every corner. I'm doing all right in them. I just don't have the pace of Oscar in the first 3 or 4 laps. Every time in qualifying, he seems to be able to get the tyres there and the time straight away, and the rest of us are always about 4 tenths to half a second off. So Oscar's really got it nailed. If there's another season in this, we've got a bit of work to do to catch him. But yeah, it's a great race all round, and the 2 cars are great, and I'm looking forward to the next one.
Absolutely. So thanks for having a chat with us, Adrian. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we say goodbye?
Just the digital motorsport, really. Those guys. You guys do a great job as well. When I watch it back, it's always entertaining listening to you guys, and it's a bit weird watching you guys talk about yourself. But you know, it's great, and I look forward to continue racing with these guys and you commentating. So thank you very much to everyone, and I hope everyone stays safe still.
Awesome. Thanks, Adrian, and we'll see you back next week.
Yeah. Cheers, guys.
So Adrian Campfield, we have got more time, of course, to get some interviews in. So I think we'll have a chat with our kind of Apex regulars. To chat with a double 4th place finisher. We'll chat with Tom Ingram if we can. Tom, welcome back to the commentary box as always. A double 4th place for you today, and I think it was a little bit interesting in Heat Race 2 because it seemed like everyone was running out of fuel. How did you manage to get to the end?
A lot of hopes and prayers. If I'm brutally honest, there was absolutely no mathematics in it at all. It was merely cross my fingers and hope I make it.
Fair enough.
I feel like I could lie to you and tell you that I used mathematics and equations in that, but I would just be lying. It was just luck.
Great stuff. So obviously 2 great races from yourself. Heat Race 1 4th place and Heat Race 2 4th place. So obviously some good improvements coming through in the car.
Yeah, for sure. The 2 4th places, yeah, 15th to 4th and 17th to 4th. So yeah, it seems like 4th I can finish 4th most weekends, but I can't seem to do anything better than that at the moment. But yeah, like you say, really good for really good coming forwards. It was funny, we were just chatting, waiting to come into you guys. Like, how on earth do we try and match Oscar's pace, because he's so fast, so fast. But yeah, like I say, a really good result. 2 decent results out of a semi-okay qualifying. So yeah, all in all, pretty good.
Good stuff. Final one for me before passing on to Sam. Alton Park next week, so for our final round of the championship. How do you feel about Alton Park? Is it one of your favourites?
Yeah, again, you can't not love Alton Park. It's just fantastic. It's a really cool circuit. I think with these, it's going to be super difficult. I think the racing's going to be aggressive. It could be the right word, because I think it's going to be so difficult to get track position, in testing, and also the second we get into a race scenario, it's going to be so difficult to pass. Alton Park is known for being a difficult place to overtake, and it's the same in the GT cars, it's the same obviously in British touring cars. No matter what you race around there, it's just a difficult place to overtake. So I think qualifying is going to be key, which so far this year hasn't been my strength, but you never know, miracles can happen and stranger things have happened at sea, so I might end up having a half decent one there. Let's hope.
We saw you in the Formula 3 car on Sunday, Tom. How's it been kind of practicing in those different cars and also very different circuits, Spa and Snetterton?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Sam. I was in the British F3 race last Sunday, was it? Which amazingly I won. I don't really know how. There was it's quite funny. There was loads of confusion at the end of the race. Loads of people getting kicked out for track limits and all sorts of stuff. Thankfully, I managed to keep hold of mine. But it was just yeah, it was crazy. But it's good fun. It's nice to be able to jump between car to car, and it's nice to be able to experience different circuits. And exactly as I say, every single weekend or every single time we I join you in here, that it's just keeping your race sharp, and that's what's so important.
There's also been news of a mysterious European circuit that iRacing has been scanning. I mean, if you had your pick, is there any circuits in Europe or even further abroad that you would absolutely love to see in iRacing, that you'd love to race around in the near future?
Oh wow, that's a great question actually. Certainly across Europe, they've got all of the circuits for me that I really like. I do like Mugello. Mugello I think is a fantastic circuit. That would be quite a cool circuit to get in iRacing. I think it would end up for great racing as well, and it would suit a lot of cars. So for me, Mugello is just superb. But they've got such a great mix of circuits already that we're very lucky to be able to race on.
Awesome. Well, once again, Tom, thanks for coming in to have a talk with us. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we say goodbye?
As always, guys, yourself and Jay, you do a fantastic job. Always listen back to it, so you guys do a great job. I've got Snell for organising, and everyone at home for tuning in to watch. I really appreciate it. So hopefully, Alton Park next week we can have another good one.
Absolutely. Well, best of luck for that one, Tom, and yeah, we'll see you then.
Perfect. Cheers, guys. Have a good night.
Great to say, always hear from Tom Ingram. He's always one we can rely on to have a chat with afterwards. I think we've got time for maybe one more, and let's maybe see if we can have a chat. We haven't had a chat with this man. I think it's Arturas Kondelis waiting for us in the interview waiting area. Arturas, welcome to the commentary box for the first time. 2 good results for yourself. Are you happy with your performance today?
Hi. Yeah, I am happy because, well, this was not my favorite track, and I was kind of hating myself for not being able to find the pace here. So yeah, surprised and quite chuffed with the finishing result. Thanks.
So race 2, we've had a chat with a couple of other ones. Most people were running out of fuel, so obviously that was an interesting one. When did you start to notice that the fuel wasn't going to make it to the end?
I believe that's when my spotter started telling me about running out of fuel. And then, I don't know if you know, but I drive with hand controls because of my disability. So with all the things that I have to do on my steering wheel with my fingers, I had to, scroll through settings, decrease the fuel needed to be fueled in the car, and all the while driving, trying not to get caught by Tom Ingram. And yeah, it was pretty tense. I had like 3 liters in, and off I went.
So yeah, the hand controls you mentioned. How tricky is it to actually drive, or have you just is that had the way that you've kind of always driven sims, or is it really tricky to get used to?
Yeah, that's how I was always driving sims, and perhaps it would take a while to get used to someone else. I'm used to it as it is. The only limiting factor is the brake. It's really difficult to sort of balance the strength of the pressure of the pedal as opposed to, properly pressing with your leg a pedal. But yeah, I think you get used to everything.
Good stuff. Final one from me before I pass you on to Sam. We're heading to the final round of the championship. You were in the Pro-Am class, of course. The championship points aren't split, unfortunately, there. But Alton Park, are you a fan of that circuit? Have you driven much around there?
Well, certainly much more of a fan than I am for Snetterton, but yeah, my favorite tracks were the three first rounds, so I'll take what I.
And going into that final round, of course, you got a chance at 2nd place in the championship, only behind Mangan. Is that a big deal for you? Would you really like to get that 2nd place, or have you got other aims for the final day?
Yeah, I mean, considering the level of the drivers here, it's an honor to be anywhere near the top, really. I sort of had my goal to myself to be ahead of Tom Ingram, because of who he is in the real world. But yeah, so far so good. We'll see what Alton Park brings.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations today, Arturas. Is there anyone you'd like to give a thanks to at all?
Yeah, Sergey Graben, if he's listening, he's the one who got me to race in this league, and I'm loving it. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks for having a chat with us, and best of luck for next week.
Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
So that was Arturas Kondelis joining us in the commentary box. It was fantastic to hear from him. Actually, an interesting fact that we didn't know, that he actually drives with hand controls. And I think it's a great example of how fast you can be despite your disability. And I think a lot of simulators give people that opportunity that they may not have in real racing to get behind the wheel and get involved, even no matter what they have. And I'd be interested to actually hear more about his setup, because of course we've had Billy Monger racing in other simulators, and of course in the real life as well. Sam, it's fantastic to see any people from all walks of life, no matter what their disability is, getting involved.
Absolutely. I think Simability might be a company. So shout out to those guys who really specialize in stuff like that. So certainly, if you're looking to, if you've got a disability and you want to take part in sim racing, I think Simability is quite a good place to go to. There's a few other companies as well providing stuff like that. It's fantastic how inclusive motorsport is on the most part, because we had Robert Kubica, of course, in Formula One, as well as we've had various. We had that Paralympic, that we had that disabled Le Mans team, I think, from a few seasons ago as well. And on sim racing, it's even more towards that as well. And undoubtedly, if you've got the talent, you've got the talent. Thankfully, in these cars, of course, we've got ABS. I believe. I think it would be that much more tricky for our tourists if we didn't have that ABS. As he says, the control over the brake pedal is absolutely important. But I mean, we didn't guess it, did we? He's so consistent out there. He's Mr. Consistent, and just has absolutely maximized his controls right there.
Yeah, I think if he hadn't said anything, we would have just assumed he was a normal driver. That's fantastic as well. You mentioned who actually provides some of the equipment. Digital Motorsports actually do. They've just started doing some of these components for disabled people. So I think it's the accelerator, the paddles on either side of the steering wheel and other stuff like that. So if you want to know more about that, then do obviously visit digitalmotorsports.com. There's a whole section on the accessibility in sim racing, which is a massive thing for everyone. But we're going to round out the stream there. Thanks as always to Sam Fitzpatrick for joining me in the commentary box, and for Sam Willie for providing the brilliant camera shots as always. We head to Alton Park for the final round next week at the exact same time, 8 p.m. and we hope that you will join us there for another exciting round of the Porsche Cayman Cup in association with Porsche Centre Dublin. Thank you for joining us tonight, and we will see you next week on the iRacing Esports Network. Thank you, and good night.